The Other Side is brought to you by Truman Insurance. Community-driven, always honest, always reliable, always there. Welcome to Third and Long. You'll notice Dave Dickinson isn't here. Corey Mace is. What was the story? Did he sleep in? What?
He just said he wanted, there was demand for better looking people, so I was the first person he thought of, which naturally, so appreciate that, Dave.
Yeah, okay, there we go. I want to talk to you, first of all, as we go into this week and you're playing Hamilton at home. A wild game the last time you guys played, and you lost in a game that we both agree you guys should have won, but it was weird because you saw all these special team mishaps that you don't usually see. So I would imagine there's a little revenge on the line as far as the Stamps go.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Playing out in Hamilton, it's a tough crowd. They are a well-coached team. They got great players there, some former Stampeders as well. But they did their job. I mean, we got to be better at the end of the day. Special teams, defense, and offense. I mean, there was plays we left out there, and we made some, of course, but we didn't come out with the victory. So, we definitely understand, of course, whenever you play an opponent again for the second time, you revisit it because you watch so much film of them. So the guys are itching already. We had day one of practice. It was a good practice. They're chomping at the bit, to get to game day, but it's a process, to make sure we're doing all the right things.
So you mentioned it's a tough place to play. So what do you call 32 Hamilton Ticats fans in a circle?
I feel like that's a trap. I don't know what.
A full set of teeth.
Yeah, anything from Hamilton. Brett Monson, our D coordinator, he can't let him live on that.
Yeah. Mazzoli's out for the year, and your defensive line has to contain Evans. What does he offer? What kind of a challenge is it playing against him?
Yeah, I think now kind of the jury's kind of out on the guy. He's had a few games under his belt now. He's more athletic than I think people give him credit for. He's able to move around in the pocket and outside the pocket. He's got a live arm, and he's doing well within the system. He's got great weapons. So is he Mazzoli? I don't want to say he's Mazzoli, but he's definitely. They're still running their offense the way that they're designing it, getting the ball to the right guys. And if it's not there, we have to respect the fact that he's going to be a playmaker with his legs. So we got to stick close to the vest and keeping our eye on him. But like any quarterback, if we can force him into making bad decisions, we got some ball hawks back there in the back end of our defense. Hopefully we can, if we can't get him before he throws it, hopefully we make him throw an air ball out there and let our guys go get it. So
look at their offensive line and their running game. How do you stuff that? What are your thoughts on them? And how do you think you guys match up?
Yeah, they've been banged up in the running back position throughout the year. They have brought a few guys in, and they just, for whatever reason, can't seem to stay healthy at that position. But they do a good job manufacturing the run with their screen game and also a bunch of gadgets and trickery. They're getting the ball to their playmakers. If it's a receiver, they're going to hand the ball off to him as if he's a running back. But they also signed a CFL veteran this week who could potentially play, and Terrell Sutton, who's very well respected in the league, and he's one of the harder backs to bring down. So we got to be on our P's and Q's this week, making sure that we stuff the run and eliminate the pass. They're very well balanced.
This year it's been kind of frustrating for you with all the injuries you have on the D line. How have you been able to cope with that? And every week it seems like you use some glue and some string to get everybody out there.
Yeah. Well, shit, you can't catch a break. A guy last week got a car accident in an Uber, you know what I mean? So coming to work, so it's just tough in that sense. But at the same time, as a coach and even as a player, that there's going to be a little bit, warts early with the young guys getting in there kind of thrown into the fire as expected. It's professional football, and it takes some time for guys to get acclimated. But the good part about it is when you get to the mid to the back end of the season, these guys are starting to settle in and feel comfortable. You know what I mean? So it's, yes, you're a rookie, but with them, as much playing time as they're getting, they're trying to get past that stigma of being a rookie. So now, as the games get tighter and everybody's jockeying for position in the rankings and going into playoffs, these guys are battle tested.
How frustrating is it for you when you look across the CFL and you see the number of Stampeder D linemen playing, and not only playing, leading the way in sacks?
Yeah, it's not frustrating. Some of those guys I either played with or coached in the last few years, and I'm happy for them. That's the one thing I can't speak for every other coach, but myself, I really pride in trying to make these guys great players. But, I know what their personal lives are like off the field as well. And, some guys got big paydays, and it was well-deserved. And with that, you have to perform. And, a lot of the guys are performing, and one we're going to see this week in Jagarrett Davis. He's a good friend to guys in our locker room, but, come game day, hey, one team's got to win, and it's better be the horse.
So with the new guys that come in and having to juggle all this, do you find it tough to be consistent in their training and their game readiness? Is that something that you've had to deal with?
I find that, the guys that are going into the game, there's been a couple guys that, you get, and they only have a week or two, and you're throwing them out there, and they're kind of learning on the fly. But a lot of that, is kudos to the guys that are going to be on the field with him, right, and being vocal leaders out there, making sure that these guys are in the right position. But for the most part, you get a new guy in, and you kind of put the training wheels on and build them up, and then you push them off and take the training wheels and see how they roll. And it's been good this year, and I'm excited to see again some of these younger guys who are having opportunities to step in and play, the kind of plays that they make, because it's a reflection on how you're coaching them, and if they're getting the things done that need to get done. And if not, it's always good for me to self-reflect and see maybe where, if I missed something or how I can be a better coach for these guys. Because at the end of the day, as a coach for myself, it's about getting these guys prepared so we can win. That's all we worry about here in Calgary is winning.
Good job.
I appreciate
Thanks,
you,
man.
brother.
Josh, I want to talk to you about the Hamilton Ticats because you lost to them in a game that Stamp should have won maybe. But let's look at their weapons and matching up against your secondary, because that's a pretty good matchup because they've really got some nice weapons down there. Banks and company are explosive.
Yes. Now we love that. The tougher the task, I think the more we kind of get up. Mm-hmm. We like to play against good competition, and when you play against the Hamilton Ticats, you don't just play against, you play against those 5 receivers, and you got to cover those guys: Jones, Banks, Addison, Tasker, all the way across the board. Those guys can run. Now you put on the film, they are flying, they are hitting the waggle, they're utilizing it, they're dangerous. They could put up 50 points on every team if you lay down, they will run over you. It's a great challenge, and I think we love relishing in that moment.
What's the key for a victory for you guys as far as the secondary goes?
Just kind of doing our part, really.
Yeah.
Just doing our part, being on the same page, communicating, and then really not just covering those 5 receivers with 6 guys, but we try our best to kind of cover them with 12. If the D-line is doing their part to be on the quarterback, we're in the right positions in the back end, the linebackers in the right spot, just being that true team and that true defense and just holding up our part, and the rest of the guys to show up too.